Hey guys, Zach Dubois here, and I just want to give a little technique of normally how I like to fish in the winter time, December to January, maybe early February, depending how the season goes. I'm fishing on Toledo Bend. I'll get in the backs of all these creeks. If their creek channels look right, I like to go from anywhere, if the bottom is between 20 and 30 foot. Scan them, I idle them. I look at the drop-offs in the middle of the creek beds on the sides, and what I do normally is I'll find the shad, and what they'll look like is kind of just like, imagine a big cloud, I guess you could say, on Sonar, and that's normally what they'll look like. And what happens is when you find the shad, then the bass or fish, sometimes it's bass, sometimes it's sockeye, it could be barfish. They're not too far away from the shad, and they'll either be in the area, they might be a little stagnant, just hanging out, or they might be feeding on it. If you're island around, ideally what you want to find is feeding bass. If you find feeding bass on Sonar, you'll see streaks are going across, and that's a great sign. Now when they're not feeding, you just kind of get some little returns, and they might be hanging around on the bottom or slightly off the bottom. So you can see here I have some waypoints set of where I found some fish recently. You can kind of see where I'm idling. And I'll set both my sonar and my map. See, this right here could be a brush pile, a little bit of shad around it, definitely some brush. Might be a little bit of sockeye and crappie around the side. You can see here, this is definitely some shad moving around. It's a loose shad too, the way they're not, if they're real tight, you'll get harder returns and be brighter on your screen. But in this case, it's a cloudy, overcast day, so the shad balls are a lot loose. That's shad here. See, this is shad very sparsely right on that drop, and that could be some fish there. Now what we're getting here is that's our thrust from our motor. But these are all balls of shad, bait shad, very scattered. Shad everywhere. I mean, this is all shad. Sparse shad, that's for sure. You can see right here, starting to get a little bit of return. See some small returns there. Right here, all on the bottom, right in the middle of the riverbed. Smaller returns, smaller fish, could be brim, sockeye, usually something like that. But today we're targeting bass. So normally this is what we look for at this time of year. Scanning around, trying to find some fish. Sometimes you find some fish, sometimes you don't. And today I haven't found them yet, but if I were to find some bass, ideally, this is what it would look like. You can see how I have a little bit of drop off next to a tree, and the bass kind of hanging around there. And I'll find that around shad. So they're there. It's just a matter of sitting around the island till you find them. And then hopefully when you find them, you can start catching them. Well, I was hoping to show you guys some fish catches on this trip, but sometimes it don't happen. I got rained on twice. So I just want to talk about when you find a bass, what are some lures you can throw at, and I'll show you what I like to throw when I do find those schools of bass. First one is a shaky head, trick worm of any kind. Blue fleck's a nice color I like to throw. That's one, and I'll commonly throw it on a spinning rod with a braid to fluorocarbon leader. Another lure is an umbrella rig of some kind. Here I have the Louisiana triple threat with some mad minnows as the swim baits on it. Sometimes the fish can be a little finicky, so I like to throw a little jigging spoon like this, just a weighted, something with a silver flash to it, just to look like a little minnow. Throwing football jigs, and that'll kind of help bring out those bigger bass in the school as well. Not always the smaller bass will eat them, but commonly you better pluck out some of those bigger fish. Is a drop shot, just like this. I like to throw green pumpkin, purplish kind of colors on Toledo Bend, about maybe a foot leader or so. And normally when I get into the school, if I'm throwing a bigger bait or a Carolina rig or anything and they're not biting, I'll throw this, and usually 9 times out of 10 I'll get them to bite it and catch something. So that's what I would throw when I find these schools of bass when starting out. Especially start out, sometimes just depends. If you find a bigger school, which you can see on Sonar, you can throw football jigs, some bigger baits. Sometimes if you find those smaller schools of bass, you might want to throw a drop shot, something a little more finesse. But y'all try that out. Next time I'll see y'all again with some more tips and tricks. Catch them on occasion.